Years ago, he faced regular racist attacks from children in the playground, something he says was just a fact of life back then.
Now his son Isaiah is taking part in a special BBC Newsround documentary which follows 3 teenagers to see whether life for them is any different from their parents' generation. Have a look.
People decide to cross the road and carry on walking so they don't have to walk next to me. I do walk around most of the time with my hoodie up, and I guess I'm seen as a criminal or a bad person. You live your life always aware that something's different about you. I've almost kind of got used to it, but it does affect me. I don't see why people can look at the color of other people's skin and decide that I'm gonna treat you differently. I'm kind of worried that I'm gonna go out one day, go get a nice car and be stopped because they don't believe that a young black man can have a nice car. I don't know why.
Well, we're joined now by Isaiah and Shoppy. Good morning to you both. Thanks very much for being with us on Breakfast. Shoppy, when you heard Isaiah live his experiences, talk about his experiences, and they reflected some of yours when you were younger, how disappointing is that for you?
It's very disappointing. You would hope that in a 20-year gap, things would have changed and things have improved a lot. But unfortunately, they haven't, and I can definitely relate to a lot of what he was talking about. And
how do you explain to your son that this will change or this will improve, or can you say that?
I can say that in a sense. I think even the fact that he's on this program and having this conversation shows there is some improvement, because you keep on giving him that hope that things will get better, things are improving. Yes, it's taking a long time, but you just have to keep on playing your part, which is exactly what the show's about for him.
Isaiah, good morning to you. Thanks so much for chatting with us today. Can I just ask you, Isaiah, you and your dad, can you talk to us about how much you've talked with your dad, sharing things that have happened to you? I don't know, maybe you've been out at school, you've been out doing your thing at the weekends or whatever, something happens. Have you over the years, have you been able to share stuff with family, and you know, what'd you get from that?
There have been situations that's happened, and I wouldn't say that the first thing I would have gone is gone to speak to any of my family. I usually kind of bottled up those emotions, because we've had a conversation about racism, but I don't think we've really gone into this such of a deeper level. But I think it's a conversation that needed to be had, and I'm glad that we had it.
Well, I tell you what, Shoppy, I can only imagine you must feel very proud hearing your son talk that way, because that's a lot of wisdom for a very young man. And as a father, when you hear your son saying, you know, he bottles it up, he's got a lot of anger, a lot of rage, I mean, that's basic, isn't it? That's something that would really get to you.
Yeah, it definitely does. I think we've always encouraged them to speak up. There's only so much that you can say. One thing we've said over the years is channel that rage into creativity. He's actually, from a young age, he's changing that narrative, which is quite good.
Isaiah, how important is it that the conversation happens in terms of with you and family, not so much in that circumstance, because I think children would expect their parents to encourage them to talk about their experiences, but more amongst you and your friends from all different backgrounds, and actually calling out horrible incidences of racism as not being okay, so you don't have to bottle things up?
Yeah, there are friends I've spoken to about racism, racist experiences, mostly my closest friends and people I like to see on a daily. But to be honest, racism or the way that black people or any minority ethnicities are treated, I don't think that's a topic that's really talked about much in my friend group.
So what do you think needs to be done to make sure it is spoken about more?
I think social media these days is such a great thing. It's such a big platform, and it's such an easy way to speak out without having to go around and knocking on people's doors and telling them about it. I feel like even just creating a post, just saying, I don't know, black people are treated this way and it's wrong. I feel like as a collective, as the youth, we need to make a change and stand up to this.
And we've got Lewis Hamilton. I think we can have a quick look at what he had to say.
Racism in itself is a pandemic that's been going on for a long, long time. I've got a responsibility to try and help shift this so you guys have a better future and then your kids have a better future. You guys have such a bright spark. You shouldn't have to dim your light to make people around you feel more comfortable. If anything, you need to shine your light as bright as you can because you'll encourage the person next to you. And just by having this conversation with you, you guys are giving me a lot of energy and I feel even more like driven to go and do what I'm going to do. So I hope that I've been able to do that for you guys.
Thank you.
So Isaiah, it's important, isn't it, that people of prominence, not just black or ethnic minorities, but people of prominence, celebrities, all shout out about this and be open to the conversation.
Yeah, definitely.
And do you think enough are standing up and saying it?
Yeah, I think that it's something that needs to happen, and I feel like gradually it will happen.
Well, it's interesting.
It's been lovely catching up with both of you. Thank you very much. Very proud dad, Shoppy. Isaiah, people will be really interested in what you've got to say, and we should tell people, thank you both very much. You can see part 2 of Young Black British, hear us on CBBC tonight, 6:05, also available on BBC iPlayer.
Good to see some optimism as well, that it will get better. The time now is 8:59.